My name is Alanso90 and welcome to my tutorial series for Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, version 0.f. So those who don't know, Cataclysm is a zombie apocalypse survival game that goes into extreme realistic detail compared to anything else. The closest comparison I can make to something a little bit more mainstream would be Project Zomboid. Project Zomboid was heavily inspired by Cataclysm. Cataclysm came first, but it goes into much deeper depth than that. It's quite a handful, but we're going to try to get through it in this tutorial series. Our first episode here, we're just going to go through installation. So if you're a longtime player of the game, looking for some new information about the game, I do have a video talking about the new inventory system that comes with version .f, which we'll also talk about in this series again later, but that video should still work just fine for today. But to get started here, let's open up our web browser, and I'll have the links that you guys all need in the description below. But the first one we're going to have to go get is our game launcher. So Cataclysm isn't available on any Epic Store or Steam or anything like that. We have to gotta go to the GitHubs and get the files and stuff like that. So the launcher is actually developed separately from the game. It's made by like a modder, but it's sort of become the de facto way to play the game. So we'll go ahead and get the exe, and we'll go ahead and get that installed. I actually like to go to my file first, go to my downloads. Here's my launcher. I don't want to leave it in the downloads folder. You can leave it in there if you want. I prefer to move this to my dedicated game drive, so I'm just going to cut that, take it to my game drive, and drop it in here. And then we can double click and launch that. It's going to pop this up. It's going to be very scary. You're going to be very frightened. You're just going to run anyway. And we're just going to install for only me. Okay, license agreement, slide my solo weight to the devil, yada, 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 you know the stuff. Desktop shortcut's going to be nice. There we go. So if you've played Dwarf Fortress, this launcher is sort of like having the starter pack mod, or as it used to be called, the lazy new mod installed. It just makes the game a lot more approachable to be installed. So there we go. Go ahead and knock that out. And then, while we're still just downloading stuff, here's the GitHub for just the game itself. If you don't want to install the launcher for any reason, you can get it here. It's going to be, well, depends on what version you're using. There's OS X builds and Linux builds and even Android builds. I'm not sure how easy it is to play on Android. I'm guessing not easy. But most people probably want the Windows x64 zip, so that's where you can get it by itself, but then you won't have the nice fancy launcher that makes it easy to install mods and stuff. And then our last link here is this. This is our Undead People tile set. So this is the tile set you see a lot of the other YouTubers, including myself, using for the game. So tile sets are just how the game looks visually, because at its core, the game was actually based on ASCII characters. So everyone usually plays with tile sets on to make it look a lot prettier. And this one is pretty much known as being the best looking one. Unfortunately, it's not compiled into the base game anymore. I guess it uses some assets that aren't original, and they only want original assets in the base game. So I'll talk about how to get this installed later, but let's go ahead and download it. Let's see, this one's actually just in the description here. I'm just going to click that one. There we go. So, I meant to have some music playing. Anyway, so here's our Cataclysm launcher. It popped up automatically, I do believe. No game is installed right now. All we did was install the launcher. So this is where it's going to install the game. We're going to click the ... and pick where we want to install it. Maybe you want to leave it here, but it's buried deep in like app data and stuff, kind of like Minecraft is. I don't like that. I prefer, this is why I have this game drive here. I just like to put my games in here. And then I'm just going to make a folder called cdda. My music might be a little too loud. Let me crank that down. Now it has a game directory. It'll also tell you the version of the game, the build number, the save. That's all not that important. But we want to switch to stable, and this is where you'll find .f. Right now, the launcher is not updated, which is kind of weird because it automatically picks up like the experimental updates, but I guess it has to be updated for the stable builds. So it'll be here soon, I'm sure. but I'm going to have to go to experimental, and I think the closest one to the release build, the release build was like 07030513, I think. So this build here should be pretty close. So that's what I'm going to install. But yeah, those stable builds are the ones that are bug checked. They shouldn't have very many bugs, but you can see here that point E was updated several times. It's the only time that's ever happened. Most of the other updates never had like supplemental updates. Yeah, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to install. I might have some differences, but it should work just fine. There we go. It's installed. And now if the game ever updates, especially if you are using experimental builds, because it updates several times a day, as you can see. They're very busy about updating this game. You can always update to the newer build of the game. I'll just do it directly to what's already installed. That can cause errors, so I usually delete the whole game and start over if I need to do an update like that. Moving on from there, let's go ahead and launch our game for the first time, just because that usually introduces some more files into the file system, which can make it a little bit more stable when we're installing other stuff. All right, there we go. There's the game. I'm just going to tab. So there's no mouse controls in the game for the most part. You can scroll over things on the screen when we get into the game to see what they are, but for the most part, there's almost no mouse controls. So I'm using the arrow keys here and enter and enter. It's the old-fashioned way of doing things. And to navigate between these screens, we use the greater than and less than sign, so you'll have to hold down shift, and that's period and comma. Oh, they changed it actually. It's actually tab. I lied to you. So we press tab to move forward, and then we back tab. You might be saying, what the heck is a back tab? I've never heard of back tab in my entire existence as a human being. It's shift tab. I don't know why. I just want to go in here and just change a setting. I'm going to change one that I know I'm going to change later, which is this one. I'm going to bring that up to 20. And then I'm going to press escape. I'm going to tab over to Y. We can also use Y on the keyboard, but I'm just going to arrow over to that. And then I'm going to arrow over to quit. That was just a change of setting to make sure we have an options file in our game. And it looks like it did not auto open, so let's fix that as well. I'm going to put the game up here. Double click our game launcher again. It looks like the little rocket. We are going to go to settings. Keep the launcher opened after launching the game, because I'm going to restart the game a lot of times while we're installing our mods and stuff. So I want this to stay open so I don't have to open it every time. So we have the game installed. We could start playing right now, but we're going to go into more of the detailed stuff next. So mods. Everything on the left is your already installed mods, and on the right is the repository of, like, I don't want to say sponsored, but like accepted mods, I guess. These are ones that are like checked that they work, but there is more mods just floating out there. I don't know what you would look for, but there are more. Let's grab the Dark Days Ahead Lua. Click install this mod, because that one's needed for a lot of other mods to work. So we'll go ahead and take it. No freeze. We're going to go ahead and take this. We might not need it, but we'll talk about this once we get into actual gameplay about the game. There was a problem with things freezing. That's why that mod is there, and that's why I'm going to install it real quick. But yeah, there's all sorts of little fun mods in here, so you can go through these and see what you like. But I recommend, if it's your first time playing, probably not mess with too many of these. The only two we grabbed is one that just makes it so other mods work, and then I also grabbed the no freeze mod, which is extremely helpful. So then we can click over on Soundpacks. These are sounds for the game, because the game doesn't come installed with any sounds except for that little click, click, click sound you saw in the main menu. Otherwise, it's completely barren of any music or sound or anything. I don't really have a preference. Like, I've only tried these two, ATS and cdda. My logic was whichever one has the biggest file size probably has the most sound files. So I'm going to install the ATS one. But you can mess around between these and see which ones you like most. It is a pretty big sound pack, and it is like a tiny server, so this might take a while. This happens on Dwarf Fortress 2. The sound mod for Dwarf Fortress takes a really long time to install. Actually, that was pretty quick. But it used to take a longer time, I think. They must have got a better server or something. But yeah, in Dwarf Fortress, it can take like an hour to get all your sound files installed. And I don't think there's anything we need to mess with here. You know what? For the sake of keeping videos a little bit more concise, I'm going to end this video here. basically, I used to do tutorial series where I did just huge 35-minute episodes, and they were just in like a let's play format. We're going to try to do these in a little shorter bursts here so that it can be more concise. So hopefully you'll find that helpful. But that's all the time we have for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, remember to hit the like button. Keep the conversation going in the comments. And if you have any questions, leave those down there too. And I'll get to you whenever I can. But until next time, I hope you have a good day.